Hi class, in this video we will be addressing um, retouching, but specifically high-end retouching, how to remove pimples and wrinkles and all that, because as you know, in photograph everything is saturated, so you're depending on the lighting, and lighting like this one, you can see one side doesn't really have wrinkle because it's towards the sun or towards the window, or that side had more light, whereas the other side, because of the bounce and the way the light's bouncing, it actually emphasized and accentuated the wrinkles. So we want to make sure that no, to eliminate that so it looks natural, at the same time, removing it, remove anything that was oversaturated or overemphasized due to the lighting conditions. But also something to think about when you're shooting for magazine and high-end product. This is more the effect that they want. They really want the skin to be smooth but still has texture, but everything that's unflattering is removed. Okay, same as this. So I have three different, so we're going to address that using frequency separation. The next thing that the tools that we'll be using are essentially curves and using curves and also color gradient map to accentuate the color, like this situation here. The original color, if you notice the highlight, it's or the color and the highlights is not as rich, right? And the colors kind of blend around the highlights. So how to bring back the richness of the color. Okay, and in this situation, the same, how to bring back the color without make it brighter without blowing out the color around the highlights. Okay, so how to enrich the color using the gradient map, and then also here is how to correct color using gradient map. So up till now we've been using color balance and photo filter to correct color issues, but now we're getting into the more advanced tools using gradient maps to correct color issues. Okay, so let's bring out these image. So download these three images on the class module, and if you don't have access to the class module, find three images that's pretty similar to this. One has fair skin, a darker skin person, and someone that's towards the yellow. Okay, so let's address this one first. Let's address it with color frequency. So I want to remove some of these wrinkles. So when we're looking at an image and editing an image, first we look at what are the issues. So always anything that needs to be removed, like blemishes and all that, should be done first. For also architectural parallels, fixing any of that should be done first before we do the global editing. Okay, so we always do local editing before global. Okay, so let's do frequency separation. So basically in frequency separation, we're separating layers where we're kind of breaking the layers into two parts. One of them is skin and texture, and the other one is shadows and color, and then we can work on it, each of the layer, without affecting the other layer. Okay, so let's duplicate the layers first. So Command or Control J shortcut to duplicate. If you don't have that, then you can just click on this layer and drag on the plus sign to duplicate. Okay, so double click the bottom layer. We're gonna name the bottom layer shadows and color, shadows plus color, and then the top layer we're gonna name as skin and texture. Sometimes it's very hard to know which one is which, but when you get better at editing, you'll figure it out. Okay, so we're gonna hide that layer, the top layer. We're gonna click on the second layer, and we're gonna blur that one. We're going to go up to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and often I get asked, like, how do you know when to stop? I would say let's bring to the most important area. So we want to really remove her wrinkle on this eye. So what you want to do is when you go to 0, right, you want to blur it until the eyes start fading. So the wrinkles start fading. So this is pretty extreme. You can't even see any texture, right? So you want to be able to still see the outlines of the eye, or a little bit of the eye. Okay, I would say around 5, between 5 to 6 is good on this image. Anything under 5 I think is a little bit too little. Okay, let's click 5 and then click OK. And then we're going to come up to the second layer, and we're going to click the eye to reveal it. Then we're going to go to image. Okay, let's come to image here, apply image. Then we want to set the layer. Make sure you select the layer here, shadow and color. Basically we want to subtract. So on the blending mode, we're going to click subtract. We want to subtract this layer. RGB 100%, scale 2. Basically scale 2, it's if it's 1, it's to enhance if you look at it. So we're going to do 2 to half the strength. Okay, so offset 0 to 255, 128. So let's try that. 255, right? This white, 0 is black. So we want to offset that by using gray, which is 128. It's halfway. So make sure this is set right, and then we click OK. Okay, so next we're going to go up to the blending mode here, and we're going to go down to linear light. Okay, so if you notice, nothing really much change. Okay, but if you know, if I turn this layer off, right, then the eyes and everything is quite sharp. Okay, so that's a trick, or what I do to sharpen an image. So because I know if I turn this layer off, the eyes are sharp, which means I want to block that layer. So I'm going to create a mask, click on the second layer, create a mask there. I'm going to block. So I'm going to come down to the brush tool, make sure the mask is selected here and not here. Block 2, make sure black is on top. And then I'm going to go over and paint over the eyes. If you notice, start to sharpen. Okay, and then make sure the eyebrows are also sharpened. So the nose area here, sharpen that, and then the mouth a little bit here. We're going to address the teeth a little layer. There's a little bit brown or black here. Okay, so now that we sharpen the eyes, we're going to select this layer. We're going to actually select this layer. We're going to continue addressing shadows and colors. Okay, so usually pimples and blemishes is considered shadows and colors, or shadows or color. So this layer, you basically fix anything that's shadows and color. We're going to go up to the spot healing tool here. Make sure the image icon selected. We're going to fix these blemishes around here. Okay, let's disappear now. So anything that's shadows and colors, we're going to address. So let's see if that's shadow and color. So this area is considered texture and skin. Okay. Let's see, that's fix that a little, fix this here. Okay, so I think I've got all the blemish. Let's see if there's any more blemish. I think that's pretty much it. Okay. I know this is considered texture, so if you look at it, it doesn't remove anything. Okay, so that means it's a texture layer. So I'm going to click this texture layer now, and then have a bigger brush and address some of these areas here. Okay. I think I trust the top two. I think so. I'm gonna undo that because it duplicated the hair. So I'm gonna. Okay, so that's not going away. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do stamp tool. So select here the stamp tool, the clone stamp tool. When you're taking a sample, always sample very close by, a clean area that's close by. So I want to address this area, so I'm going to sample down here. So I'm going to click on option, so your target would come out. You're going to click on it. Okay, so that's not it. So I'm going to go back down to this layer, option, click, and start sampling. Okay, so make sure their area is nice. I'm doing this really quick for this video, but I think I overdone it a little bit because I'm going too quick. But what I would do is I would work on it again and make sure you can remove it nicely. So just be patient with when you come to editing. Otherwise, your image kind of looks like a Frankenstein. Okay, so I'm going to stop here, but I'm going to go back down here. This one, I think I'm going to do clone here. Click on the bottom and kind of clone a little bit at a time. So you want to make sure your brush is up here, your brush is hardness is 0, and brush size pretty small. Okay, so I don't think I want to go any further. I just want to match this area on the sides, so the wrinkle's not so contrasty. So this area needs a lot of work, which you can do on your own. But let's do this quickly. See, if I do it too quick, I make a mistake. Okay, so the other thing is, if all this, it just looks a little bit blotchy, what I would do then is undo everything. So I'm pressing Command or Control Z to undo things. You can do a lasso tool, and what you can do is lasso around the areas you have trouble with, and then what you're going to go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, you can blur there till you don't see it. just maybe around here. Okay, and select and Command or Control deselect. So now this side doesn't match this side, so I don't like it. So I'm gonna do that. Deselect. I'm gonna actually select the whole forehead. So this is a way you can do this. It's not a way that I do it. So I'm actually going to copy to another layer so I can easily control it. So I'm going to Command J to copy that into another layer. Select Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, select OK, and then I can bring that opacity back down. Okay. So forehead skin retouching. Okay, this way I just separate it into a different layer so I can control the amount of blur so it doesn't become like a, you know, the forehead smooth and the rest is not. Okay, I think this is okay here. Always zoom out, Command negative minus sign to zoom out, and zoom in that nothing is too overt. And I think I'm done with this editing. I'm going to click on this layer here, shift and click on the top layer, click on group, the folder, and we're going to say skin. So I'm going to say it's frequency, separation, skin. Now we're going to do an overall global editing. Global. In global editing, we're going to do gradient mapping, which is at the bottom. I think you can't see it from, but go all the way to the bottom and the second one on the bottom. Bring this up. She's a bit red, so I'm going to use a red or magenta. So I'm going to use either blue or cyan to cancel her color. Okay. So again, we go to the bottom. Let's do this again. We're going to select here the adjustment, bring it's on the bottom, it's called gradient map. The second one on the bottom, this one will come up. We're going to click on the slide bar here. You probably don't have a folder called skin, so but we're going to name this together. So here, if you recall, we're going to use blue or cyan to clear out the magenta or the redness of the image. So let's do this for now. We're going to overlay. Okay, so let's not worry about that. And then we are going to bring it down to 50% so we can see the editing. Okay. Double click here again. Oops. Why is it that big? Okay, so we're going to bring that out again. I'm going to click here. Click on this color here. This color picker will come up. And I am going to find the highlights in this area, which is probably around this side. Okay. So it's saying it's kind of red orange, but just gonna slide it to the top. Okay, and I'm gonna cancel the red by putting a blue in. On the side, same, double click, and bring this up. Okay. Cancel the red orange and name this remove red with blue her skin. Now you just created your own gradient to remove first that. Okay, click OK. So now we're going to come back to opacity, bring down the opacity to around 10. Okay, so now you remove the color. See, there's this like green here, and green is off. I'm also going to go to hue and saturation. So go to adjustment, get hue and saturation, and I am going to reduce the overall saturation, just because I think the color issue is coming from the saturation itself. Okay, and then go pick curves. You see there's some empty right here. I'm going to bring in that adjustment and bring in this as well. Okay, bring up and drop that down just slightly like that. Okay, so name that curves overall hue and saturation minus, I think it's minus, I don't know, let's double click it, minus 17. And then gradient map, skin, remove, blue, oh red, sorry, remove red with blue. Okay, so this is a little bit more advanced way. The gradient mapping is more advanced way of addressing the color issues in your photo. Okay, so this is what it's done for this photo. I would just do this, practice this until you get a hang of it, and then work on your exercise. Okay, so let's move on to this image here. It's quite quick. We're going to just use curves here, and then we're also using, but mainly we're using gradient mapping tool to bring out the richness of her skin. Okay, so let's remove this. Again, adjustment, click on gradient map, which is second on the bottom. This could be anything, so we're just gonna highlight that. And we want to bring that up. Click on this. So we're looking for the highlights here, which is here. We want to make sure the highlight has color. So you see the highlight saying it's white. And you know skins are not white. That's due to the flash. So let's address the shadows. This is our shadows. Okay, it's also saying there's no color. I don't know why. So let's go. Let's find out her color first for her. Oh, of course it's white. It's here. So we are going to brown. So just remember this color here. I can highlight it. Command C or Control C to copy. Then we're going to come back here. Click on that. Click on the color. Command or Control V to paste the brown in. Okay. So now that I have that color scale, I'm going to go here, double click on color picker. Pick on that again, and then just going to move this up. Right here for now. Okay, that's not the final color, but I just want to see. Now we're going to go to normal blend mode. We're going to do overlay, bring opacity down to 20 maybe, 25, I like 25, right there. Actually, I like that color. So we're going to double click on that again. I'm going to move it just slightly over. So it doesn't have that orange tone. And then double click here. I'm going to move the scale up to the blue. The reason is if I stick to orange, the image looks like it had a color filter issue. Okay. Now click OK. Okay, so now it looks better. It looks so that has an orange tone to it, and this is more the original color. Okay. So I'm gonna bring that up just a bit to 30. Okay, so now we're gonna address curves. Bring this in a little. Okay, and then let's see. I don't think I need it, but I think I'm gonna go with hue and saturation. Now we're gonna do the opposite. We're gonna bring up the saturation just a tad. Okay, so now hue and saturation is +3. I think it was +3. Gradient mapping. Gradient map. So I add blue curves. Overall. Okay, let's move curves top. Select this layer, go shift and select the last layer, and then we're going to group it and call it global. Okay, just slight adjustment, right? This is a little bit orange. This area over here, it seems a little bit white, and we just wanted to put some color in and make her the brown or the color a little bit richer and truer to her skin tone. Okay, so let's double check if there's any color issue by selecting hue saturation. It is a little bit red still, so but I think I'm okay with that. Okay, so you're done with this one, and then this one here. Okay, again, we want to brighten up, but what happens if we do a brighten? If we do this, right? If you notice, these area are all white. So how can we brighten it while maintaining these area not to be overexposed? So we're going to use gradient mapping tool to do that. Okay, so let's do it together. So quickly go to gradient mapping tools, bottom second. We're gonna keep this because it's yellow. We're gonna over the soft light overlay or overlay, it's up to you. So we're gonna do overlay. Bring opacity down. So, but if you notice this is white, I'm gonna select that. And we're gonna select a lighter yellow, so more like that. Okay, and that. Okay, so something like that. Click OK. Bring the opacity down. Now it's very saturated, so we're going to go hue saturation, bring it down to around here, and then click OK. Then group, call it global. So name your files properly, and then I still think it can be a little brighter, so I'm going to go brightness and then brighten overall just a little. Okay, so before, after. So that's all with this this editing with this image. So play with it, follow along, and these are just the common issues I find when it comes to skin tone. People with dark skin tend to be either washed out with a flash, or the brown is not the true brown to their real skin color. And same with yellow. Yellow skin tends to be either white, or like someone has jaundice or too yellow. Okay, and the issue with fair skin is they tend to be a bit too red overall. Okay, so these are the common issues, and this is how you would address these issues. Okay, so download, play, get familiar with it, and then when you're comfortable, do the exercise that's posted on the module.